This video is based on the technical analysis of Chainlink and on the daily chart. What we'll do in regards to the technical analysis of Chainlink is identify the market structure, market patterns that we should be paying attention to, key support and resistance levels, important candlestick patterns, as well as levels at which we should be looking for those potential buying and selling opportunities. And so let's get straight into the actual technical analysis. And as I said, we're on the daily chart, and on the daily chart we can see that at this point in time the market is at a very strong level of resistance over here, as we've had multiple rejections in and around that area. And what this tells us is that we are likely to see the market move further down, and that is also because, as you guys can see, we are in a downward trending market or a downward trajectory. And it also motivates for why I say chances are that we're going to see the market from where it is actually move further down. But another reason that motivates for why I say the market is likely to move further down is that if you look at this area over here, you will see that we have what is a head and shoulders pattern forming, which has more or less a neckline at that point. And you guys know that whenever we have these patterns such as the head and shoulders pattern, we want to see price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline over here, and then heading back up to the neckline to give it a test. And at that point where the neckline is generally where we look for those potential selling opportunities. And especially because, as I said, the market is in a downward trend after all, as you guys can see, right? Another thing that I also want to point out is that as much as at this level over here, or that zone, we have a head and shoulders pattern forming, we also had a W structure over here. And remember also that W structures are very much similar to head and shoulders pattern, in that we want to see price breaking to the upside of that neckline, coming back to the neckline to give it a test. And at this level where the neckline is where we look for those potential buying opportunities. However, this W structure has actually played itself out. Why do I say so? That is because it started at this point, the market went down, gave us a W structure, and it ended at that point in line with where it started. So we can disregard this W structure. However, the most important thing is this level over here, and that is because that level was the neckline of the W structure, and is also now a very strong level of support at this point in time. So as much as I'm saying that we have at this level a head and shoulders pattern, and that the anticipation also is for the market to move further down, because we are indeed in a downward trending market after all. So we may see a situation where the market from where it is actually moves further down to around this level, which is, as I said, guys, where we have the neckline of this W structure. That neckline is now also a very strong level of support at this point in time. And as much as we're looking for selling opportunities, we may see a situation where the market moves to this level only for it to continue to move further up again, right? Another thing that I also want to mention in regards to this level over here is that because we had a W structure, remember that a lot of traders and investors usually buy on the second leg of that W structure, and they place their stop losses just below, right? And remember that stop losses represent liquidity, and liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So we have a lot of money stuck here in the form of stop losses, due to the fact that, as I said, a lot of traders and investors buy on that second leg usually, and they place their stop losses just below. So it is quite possible that we may see a situation where the market gives us this very nice head and shoulders pattern, closes below the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern, moves further down to around this level where we have the neckline of that W structure, and then breaks the zone again, which is now a very strong level of support, pushes further down to grab all of those stop losses that I spoke about. And then from there we may see a situation where the market moves further up, in which case it would give us a very nice W structure, as you guys can see, right? So what I'm doing at this point, guys, is just speculating and showing you some of the possible outcomes that we may encounter in as far as this particular crypto goes. And yeah, let's continue. So what else do we see on the daily chart? So another thing that I also want to point out, guys, is that as much as we have this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern, we had also had another M structure over here, which had a neckline at that point. And remember what I said earlier, guys, that whenever we have these M structures, what normally happens is that a lot of traders and investors usually sell on the second leg of that structure, and they place their stop losses just above, right? So there's a lot of stop losses that are located in and around this area, and we actually have plenty of scope for the market to move up to around this level, and that is because there's a lot of liquidity there. And as I said earlier, liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another, right? So here we are now on the daily chart, or rather on the H4 chart, and on the H4 chart we can see that this head and shoulders pattern that I spoke about earlier is better visible. As you guys can see, I hope you guys can see that it's better visible on the H4 chart. As you guys can see, if you can just draw it, with the side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right hand shoulder, and it has a neckline more or less at that point. And remember, I said to you guys that ideally I would love to see price push further down, break below the neckline, head back to the neckline to give it a test, and at that point is where I would look for those potential selling opportunities. And that is because, guys, this pattern started at this point, right? And ideally I would love to see it end at that level in line with where it started. Having said that, remember also we spoke about how we had this W structure which has a neckline at that point, and we said the neckline is now also a very strong level of support, and we may see price actually coming back to this level to test it and only move further up, right? But let's zoom in and see what else is happening in regards to the H4 chart. The H4 chart is very much choppy, guys. It's very much choppy because as much as we have this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern, I hope you guys can see that we have an opposing structure in the form of a W formation over here, or a double bottom, where we have this side as the first leg and that side as the second leg, right? And as much as I'm saying that, right, we should be looking for selling opportunities at this point, we may actually see a situation where price moves further up because we have a W structure, and this W structure started at this point and it may end at that point, and we may then see potentially price move further up, down rather. But in as far as buying or selling opportunities for that matter, at this point I don't see any actual opportunities, but my bias, as I said, guys, is for price to complete the structure, which is a head and shoulders pattern.